She called my work phone and said she needed to talk. Something had happened. I could hear it even before she finished the sentence. I dropped everything. And for the next hour, I just listened. I let her get it out. And then we worked through it together. What was she feeling? What she needed to say? How she needed to go back to her manager and handle the situation. A few days later, she called me back. It went well. And that was it. Nobody else knew. But here's the thing, this was not a one time call. This was a Tuesday. I am the person people call before they call their boss, before they send the email, before they walk into that difficult conversation. I have always been that person for more colleagues than I can count. And nobody put this in my job description. Nobody put it in my performance review. It just fell to me. And I let it. Because when someone needs someone, I want to be there. That is the work that nobody sees. Dear overcommitted woman, this one's for you. Let me tell you about the work that nobody sees. That email that you answered at 11:47 p.m. because you knew if it sat there until morning, it would cause the fire drill. The problem that you solved before anybody knew that there was any type of problem. The thing that could have fallen through the cracks if you hadn't been paying attention. The meeting you prepped for that looked effortless. The presentation that took hours, I mean, literally hours to build, and then it was performed or delivered within 30 minutes. And that person says, "Oh, wow, did you just put that together?" And you smiled and you're like, "Yes." Because honestly, what else are you going to say? No, actually, I rebuilt the entire thing at midnight because the version that you sent me was a disaster. Yeah, no one's going to say, you can think it, but you're not going to say that. All the colleagues that you checked on, the emails that you softened, the tension that you diffused in a room before it became something more difficult to manage, especially with those two particular colleagues. The hour that you spent on the phone with a colleague before she went back to her manager. And the call she made to you before she made any other call. And here's the thing about invisible work, it is invisible by design. When you do it well, nothing goes wrong. And when nothing goes wrong, there is nothing to point to. There is no fire drill, there is no crisis. The better you are at it, the less anyone sees. And that's where the trap lies. Think about it like Wi Fi. Nobody talks about it when Wi Fi is working. Nobody sits down and says, "Oh, wow, I have a great connection today." It's just there. It's assumed that it's going to work. It's expected. It's invisible until it goes down. And then suddenly, it's the most important thing in the room. You become so good at holding things together that it becomes an expectation. And expected things do not really get acknowledged or celebrated. And over time, something happens. You just get so used to doing that work that you don't even stop to think, is this something that I should still be doing? And this is the thing that nobody tells you. You just become the person who handles it. And it's not because you were asked, and it's not because you were recognized, just because you always did. And then there comes that one day that you realize nobody is going to notice until you stop. It mattered. You matter, even when nobody acknowledges it. So please, stop right now. And I want you to think about the one thing you're currently doing that was never actually assigned to you. Something that just fell into your lap. Maybe something that you've been doing so long that it feels like it belongs to you, but it truly doesn't. Got it? Now ask yourself, am I doing this because it is my responsibility, or am I just doing this out of habit or out of obligation because nobody else will? Because here's the truth. The work that you've been doing quietly without being asked is always a choice. And you are allowed to make a different one. Take a breath. Sit with that for a moment. This week, I want you to do one thing. Write it down, not for anyone else, just for yourself. 3 things you handled this week that nobody saw. 3 things that could have been worse if you hadn't been paying attention. Just write them down. The work that nobody sees still happens, and you deserve to witness your own effort even when nobody else does. And if you look at that list and you realize that most of it was never yours to begin with, that is worth paying attention to. Because now you get to decide what can you finally put down or get rid of on your list. Drop it in the comments. What is the one thing that you regularly do that you wish someone would finally notice? I want to hear it. The Buy a Stranger book campaign is still open. We are on day 18, 12 days left. For $3, you can put a book into her hands or nominate yourself. Link is in the description below. Tomorrow, we are talking about perfectionism, not as a standard you hold yourself to, but more like a shield, and what you are actually protecting yourself from. I'll see you then. With love and 1 hour back, Kay. Bye.